What's up, you guys? Heath here with SakeBomb Garage. Want to introduce you guys to our new bi-LED headlights. So these are a new version 2 of our original bi-xenon HID headlights. Lighting technology's come a long way since our original HIDs. New LEDs are less power consumption. We actually have a wider beam pattern and a longer distance throw. So while our original HIDs were absolutely fantastic compared to the original lights that came in the FD, we've got an even better set of headlights now with our new bi-LED version. Bi-LED means that there is a continuous bulb or a continuous beam pattern and that there is a flapper solenoid that's inside the headlight. So we'll show you this later when we're driving down the road, but there's a solenoid that will reveal the high beam for the lights as the solenoid moves. So nothing changes basically inside of the lights. There's not two filaments, there's not a high beam and a low beam. There's the low beam and then a exposed section for your high beam. So everything reacts very quickly. In order to do that, we've actually got special relay harnesses. Now, on our original kits, it was pretty laborious. So I'll show you our old wiring harness was a very cumbersome unit. You had to run it through the car. They had independent grounds. We don't have that anymore. We've got a much easier install. We'll get rid of this and show you what we've now got. So we've got individual relay boxes, and these individual relay boxes have their own H4 connectors. So they're not sharing a single one like previous. This now connects directly to the car. The other cool thing is, since this is a low power consumption, we can draw all of the amps that we need directly through the headlight harness. So we can pull all of our power directly through the H4 original harness, and it's a very low wattage, so this original harness can supply all of the voltage that we need. So the nice thing about that is our install is much more simple than previously. So yeah, previously you had to run this whole wiring harness through the car. Now we've got individual relay boxes, and each of those individual relays sit inside the bucket, so it makes the install very quick. So you can do a whole install and aim it in under a half an hour now. We're going to walk you through that process, and then we'll show you what these lights look like in practice on the road. We're going to be using this to install and show you what the headlights look like on the car and walk you through the install process. It's actually pretty straightforward. Yeah, so this is our 99 spec FD from Japan. This is a right-hand drive model. However, when you're going through the website and you're selecting left-hand drive, right-hand drive, you need to be selecting the headlights that are for the side of the road that you drive on, not the type of car. So if you brought a right-hand drive into the US, if you brought a left-hand drive into the UK, you need to get left-hand drive for US, right-hand drive for UK. So it has to do with the way that the beam pattern is on the road, not if it's a left-hand drive or right-hand drive car. So this is really irrelevant. Pick the headlights that go to the roads that you're driving on, the country that you live in, not if it's a left-hand drive or right-hand drive car. So anyway, we're going to walk you through the process for install. It's very quick. We're going to skip through a lot of the boring steps, but we'll start you off with the install, and we'll show you what these look like when they're done. All right, you guys, so couple quick tools that you'll need. These are actually really simple. You just need a flat blade screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, 10 millimeter, and either needle nose pliers, or if you have vice grips, this is nice. This is just to pull the spring into place. We'll walk you through the process. We've already got the headlights out, but I'll explain to you how to remove them in a couple quick steps. Okay, so we're going to pull the last screw off. There's 4 screws on here, Phillips screwdriver. You can sneak the bezel out here. Then what we're going to do is you can either grab a pair of vice grips, which is nice because it holds the spring a little firmer, or you can use needle nose pliers. Grab the spring here and disconnect it. Don't let it spring back or it'll be hard for you to find. Just let it kind of hang down here. Now we're going to use our flat blade screwdriver. There's 2 detents on each 3 mounting points. So we're going to press down on this one, a little bit of tension towards the front, press up on the bottom one. I might have to go back and forth a few times. We're going to repeat that on all 6 headlight adjuster holders for the headlight, and this will then pop out. All right, so Phillips screwdriver. We've got 4 Phillips screws on the headlight covers. So we're going to take off, or just, no, we don't have to take off, but just loosen the 2 in the front. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the knob on the headlight down. This is going to give us access to the back 2. So there's 2 more back here underneath. You don't have to take these all the way out, just loose enough that you can pop the headlight cover off gently. All right, so now that you've broken your stock headlight cover, head back on over to the SakeBomb website, and we've got aluminum replacement versions of the OE covers in stock. These are very brittle. They do break. You may have seen we make aluminum replacement covers for the headlights. These ones, this car's from '99. It's in relatively good shape, but most of the US ones that you'll be taking apart, be very, very, very careful. They're very brittle at this point in time. All right, so first thing that we're going to do, we have 2 relay boxes here. You can just kind of orient them in here to start if you would like. Just going to kind of throw them in here. And we're going to get our headlights clicked in. Then we're going to make some room for these, and we're going to double-side 3M tape them down. But for now, what we're going to do is click these in. You can see there's indentations on here, and you'll feel it pop in. Now, the headlight's still a little bit loose because we need to connect up our spring. There's a spring, if you look in here, hanging from the bottom. Remember, we took this off previously. We're going to grab this and pull it on here on the little foot to give this some tension. That's going to prevent the headlight from moving around, and then when we go to aim it, it's going to allow us to actually aim it properly. A little tricky, but you got to put a little bit of tension on the spring, clip it in there. Now we've got good tension on the assembly. Now we're going to go back here. We're going to click in our H4 connector. All right. And we're going to situate all of the electronics in here using double-sided tape to the bucket. You're going to want to tuck them off to the side, and we won't show you that whole process, but once you do, they'll be oriented inside of here, and you can kind of pack this in here. We got room when the cover goes on, so it doesn't have to be super, super tight, but you want to make sure that they're secured with double-sided tape on the back side of both of these. Tuck your wires in here. You don't want to have them pinch this arm. So before we reassemble everything and put the cover on, we're going to disconnect the battery and have you turn the headlight adjuster. And with the battery disconnected, you can turn the headlight adjuster and raise and lower it and make sure that it can move through its whole sweep without pinching any of the wires. So we're just going to disconnect the battery, 10 millimeter on here. You can get your negative battery cable, pop this guy off. This will allow us to raise and lower the headlights, so you can also pull off your rubber cap. And now you won't be fighting the headlights. You can go up and down as you need to. There's an arrow on here. Follow the red, or follow the arrow on the red knob. You don't want to turn these counterclockwise, so only turn them clockwise. Don't turn them counterclockwise to come back down. Just keep turning them clockwise, and they'll come back up. So you'll see that as you go through. So we've packed these in here. We've got everything arranged, and we've checked the headlights moving up and down through its motion. We're now going to put our headlight covers back on. So remember we took off our 4 bolts or 4 Phillips screws. So careful when you line these up. You're going to have to realign the headlight slightly. So I like to get this set down in here and kind of clicked in, but don't tighten it yet. So you want to be able to raise and lower this and move this around as we're raising and lowering the headlights to make sure that these buckets are aligned with the fender, the bumper, the hood. So there's a little bit of a process to make sure that these are all lined up. So you'll need to, like, little by little tighten these, move them up and down and back and forth a little bit until these are all lined up. Okay, so now that we've lowered our headlight, we're going to be aiming the headlight cover in relationship to the fender, the bumper, and the hood. So you might have to, like, pop the hood a few times, go back and forth. But what you're going to do is align this as best you can. Come back here and you're going to snug up the 2 points at the back. But not tight. Just snug enough that you can, that it won't move, but you can still move it a little bit if you need to. Now, remember, we're going to keep going clockwise here. We're going to raise this up a little bit. So we can get to our additional 2 points here. We're also going to snug these up, but not so tight that you can't move them with a little bit of force. So now I can kind of adjust these up and down, but there's a little bit of tension on here so that when we lower this back down again, we can get it aligned as best we can, and then raise it, fully tighten it, and then lower it back down. All right, before we go any further, we should probably check our work. So we're going to just quickly reconnect our battery. Go ahead and check the low beams. Aha, and high beams. We're good. We'll move on to the next step, reinstalling the bezels. After that, we can aim them. All right, there's a little lip on the bezel. Just going to go ahead and tuck that in here. A little bit of a flex to get it around. You always want to flex when you're in your FD, especially with the headlight bezel. So you can kind of just gently get these started in here. And before you snug them up, you're really going to want to push them into place and then tighten them. Just want to make sure that everything clears here as we go through and cycle without the motor. We're good here. We want to make sure that our bezel doesn't hang up on the side, our headlight doesn't hit the hood, or the cover doesn't hit the hood, and that we've got a relatively even gap around the headlight cover. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and reconnect our battery for the final time here. Tighten our battery terminal back up. And replace our covers for the motors, and then we'll check our work. All right, we're done. We're now going to finish with the aiming process, and we'll be all set. If you want to check out our aiming guide, definitely need to aim these after you're done. Go over to our website. We have a full aiming guide, how to set up the aiming. You need a tape measure, some blue tape, and a couple basic tools. and a Phillips screwdriver for your adjusters here. This is the finished product. We're going to show you what these look like on the road after we're done aiming them, and show you what the beam pattern looks like and what these look like in action. Thanks, you guys. All right, you guys, so we're going to show you what these look like on the road. Now, we haven't actually aimed these yet, so these are actually aimed a little bit too far down. We need to get this over to our shop, and actually we have a whole section set up where we aim them, and we've got like a 20-foot distance from the wall and a whole like setup specifically designed for aiming headlights. So you can do this in your garage, or you can literally do it in a parking lot, but you need a couple things: tape measure and some tape. But we're just going to show you what these look like to start, and we're on our way over to aim these now. So on the highway, we're normally about 5 lanes wide. So these headlights will give you like a full 4.5 to 5 lane width. And we'll give you a long distance throw. So you can see down at the end of the street, we've got everything illuminated nice and bright. We've actually got very even headlight dispersion. So we got even light dispersion. Our foreground is not too much darker than our background. And that's one of the nice things about the new LED projectors that we developed, is the evenness of the beam. You used to be only able to get that through an HID headlight. Technology's come a long way in the last 10 years, and we have a very, very even and very, very wide beam pattern. So now we've got our headlights aimed. You can see we've got a little bit of a rainbow effect at the very edge of the cutoff. The cutoff is aimed so we don't blind oncoming drivers. And that's part of the aiming process, but also so we can maximize the amount of throw that we get out of the headlights. So right now, we're below the eye line or line of sight of oncoming drivers. So that's really like our limit for how high we can aim the lights. Then we've got our high beams. Oh no. And then it's really hard to drive right-hand drive cars, and we always mix up the windshield wipers and the high beams. Now I got it figured out. All right, we got our actual high beams now.